Okay, class, good afternoon. This will be our lesson for today since we have our asynchronous classes, meaning flexible po yung time natin. And I need to discuss to you and umpisahan na yung discussion ng chapter 3, which is all about the local and global communication in multicultural settings. So this is the introduction in our chapter 3. Later on or tomorrow on our second meeting for this week, you will be doing your activity about this discussion. So you need to listen and you need to take down notes because I will not upload a PowerPoint regarding this. Okay, so this is all about chapter 3, the local and global communication and multicultural settings. So in our previous discussion, we discussed the relationship between communication and globalization. Ngayon, tingnan naman natin ito sa malaking aspeto, lalong-lalo na sa tinatawag nating intercultural communication. So if this is a face-to-face discussion, I prepared a game that we should do sana. But since we are in online mode, eto muna. Okay, so this game is all about this is called as four picks, one clue. So you need to guess what these four images are telling according to the clue that I am giving. This is a one phrase lang, a phrase only that describes kung ano yung sinasabi naman ng pictures. Okay, so let's start. Ready? Ready? Guess it? Go. It refers to the exchange of thoughts. So itong apat. So if somebody would raise their hand, ang sagot dyan ay communication, okay? Because it describes this process. And of course, Shannon and Weaver. And also communication is a bridge between a specific gap. So yun, communication po. Next, so what do these four pictures are telling? It refers to the ability to understand and value cultural differences. So ready, guess it, go. The answer is intercultural communication. Okay, so now, tingnan natin, di ba? Because intercultural communication class is a communication that goes beyond what language is being used. Okay, it's not just about your ability to understand English in a specific conversation context, but also the manner on how uh, you're someone having a dialogue with is talking. Intercultural communication, knowing and understanding the value and cultural differences. Okay, let's move forward to the next slide. This is all about consisting. This is consist of grammar and vocabulary. So this one is very easy. Madalas dito po nakakasagot yung mga uh, estudyante ko when we are discussing this lesson in person. Okay, so this is all about language. So tandaan niyo yung tatlong mga nabanggit na yon. Yun po yung unang-una yung tinatawag nating communication. Sumunod po, intercultural communication, and lastly is the language. Itong apat na to, yung paulit-ulit ninyong makikita in this discussion. Okay, so let's start. Let us first define what is communication. So it is important to remember in this lesson that communication, when we say communication, sinabi na natin nung sa unang pagkikita natin sa purposive com or comma 100, that communication refers to something in which we exchange our thoughts, ideas, and in order to attain a common understanding, di ba? However, class, in this lesson, since we are referring to multicultural settings, communication daw is said to be guided by culture and context. The context of communication brings a better understanding about the culture in general and in particular. Ibig sabihin lang po niyan, the more that we understand the context. Okay? Ano ba yung mga context na yon? We have here the environment, ano pa ba? The environment, situation, the social relation, if yun, kasama rin yun sa mga context, di ba? Ano pa ba? Settings. Lahat yan. Kapag nauunawaan natin, mas maiintindihan natin kung ano ba yung communication na nangyayari, kung ano yung, bakit ganun yung reaction ng kausap natin, at maintindihan din natin yung kultura na maaaring kanyang pinagmulan. So it's not just about the person or the context in communication that we understand, but things beyond that na hindi natin nakikita. So yun po. Once again, communication is guided by culture and context. And when we say context, meron po tayong mahalagang say about dyan. So, inumpisahan po yun ni Edward T. Hall. Sino ba si Edward T. Hall? He was an American anthropologist class who is known for his study to develop the concept of proxemics. And he also explored things about uh, cross-cultural communication. So, according to Edward T. Hall, who's a cultural anthropologist, according to this lesson, he conceptualized context as anything, again, anything, lahat, okay, that refers to the stimuli, environment, or ambience surrounding an event. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng pwedeng maka-apekto sa isang communication process. Sabi ko nga, maaari ito ay kultura, environment na pinagmulan niya, yung situation, ano pa, relationship. For example, you are communicating something with your mother. You want to buy something, and in you're in the Philippines. You told your mom na, Nay, gusto ko pong bumili ng bagong motor para po may service ako kapag po papasok. Eh, sabi ng nanay mo, hindi, bahala ka, sabi niya gano'n. So, paano niyo siya mai-interpret? It's the question that I am asking in my class during our discussion in this topic. So, paano mo ma-interpret yung sinabi ng nanay mo na bahala ka? Sabi ng mga estudyante, karamihan, lahat halos, sabi nila, parang mabigat daw, na parang napipilitan, gano'n. So, halimbawa, yun na nga, communication in the Philippine setting. Wala naman, nasa Amerika. Sinabi ng nanay, dun sa anak, your choice. Eka, reply yung nanay ng your choice. So sabi ko sa estudyante, paano nyo ito na i-interpret? They mentioned that para daw, the opposite of mabigat, parang mas magaan daw, mas may freedom ka. So nakita niyo yung differences and bakit nga ba ganon? Kapag ang isang salita na may same lang naman na kahulugan ay medyo bakit parang naiiba yung kahulugan kapag tinatranslate natin ito in English. For example, the taboo terminologies that we have in the Philippines, we have here, kapag binanggit mo yung mga, halimbawa, ano ba, paano ko ba babanggitin? Bawa, nagmura ka. In Filipino, parang ang sama-sama pakinggan. But if ang pagmumura mo naman ay English, bakit parang it's much more lighter. Minsan nakukonsider pa as joke. So yun po, kahit pareho lang naman yung kahulugan ng isang pag-uusap, parang naiiba yung interpretation nito depending kung saang konteksto ginamit at kung saang environment ito nakapaloob. So yun po, yung gustong bigyan ng emphasis din ni Edward T. Hall. So, i-apply natin itong topic na to naman sa usaping sa topic under the local and the, what we call this, local and the global communication. Okay, class. I missed something to explain. Ibabalik ko lang. Okay, balikan natin tong sa may context class. Idadagdag ko lang. 'Di ba tinanong ko kanina, bakit nga ba yung mga Filipino words, kumbaga, minsan parang ang bigat-bigat nila pakinggan, but when we translate it in English, parang mas gumagaan. Simply, na-quote din ni Edward T. Hall, just to share it with you, meron tayong mga tinatawag na high context culture. At ano ang opposite ng high? It's the low context culture. So, sa palagay nyo, doon sa dalawang konteksto ng kultura na yon, saan ba doon nabibilong ang Pilipinas? Okay. So, if few answers nasa low, mali po. Ang Pilipinas ay nabibilang sa mga high context culture country. Ibig sabihin nito, mas hindi tayo direct magsalita. Mas magaan para sa atin yung mga salitang hindi direkta sinasabi compared sa mga low context culture country just like Germany, the other European countries na gusto nila as direct as possible. Ang ganito siya nag-work. For example, you're a call center agent and there are call center agents in the Philippines na top performing sila, sinasabi. But this story is according to my friends and the other teams ko din na experience sa BPO. So they tell me na nagkukota, nare-reach nila yung quota once na ah, mas maraming kliyente yung na-accommodate nila sa buong magdamag na shift. At paano nila na-accommodate yung madaming kliyente na yon kapag direct lang nila sinasabi yung salita. And sino yung mga low performing sa BPO industry? Ang mga low performing people sa BPO industry ay hindi naman talaga yung mga ah, kumbaga, hindi ganun kagagaling yung English skill set. Ang mga low performing people po, yung hindi kayang magbigay ng direktang sagot doon sa concern ng kanyang kliyente. Kasi po, ang mga kliyente dito ay mga foreigners. So, these foreigners class, ayaw nila yung masyado kang maligoy. So, ang gusto nila, pag nagtanong, bibigay mo agad yung sagot. Because they belong to what we call low context culture. But dito sa Pilipinas, kapag minsan ay interpret natin yung isang taong, isang tanong mo, isang sagot din niya, na-interpret natin yung tao na yun as someone na parang cold, rude, or nakakatabang naman kausap. Kasi wala daw sustansya yung sinasabi. Kahit ang totoo, sinasagot ka naman niya, kung ano lang yung tinanong mo. 'Di ba? Sensitive tayo doon. For example, high context culture pa rin. May mga nalilate sa klase. Hindi ko sasabihin na hindi na kita papapasukin next meeting kapag ikaw ay late pa rin. Ang sasabihin ko, dahil ayokong masaktan yung damdamin ng estudyante, next time, pilitin mo na huwag kitang nauunahan pa rito sa classroom. Imbes na sabihin kong dapat maging on time ka in this class. Pero nagkakaunawaan kami na kailangan niya maging on time sa klase namin. So yun po, high context culture, mas maligoy. Pag low context culture, mas direct ka magsalita, straight to the point and literal agad yung meaning na ibinibigay mo. Ngayon, doon pa lang natin pwedeng mapuntahan yung local communication. It affects the way how we communicate in our country. When we say local communication class, it says here that it is highly grounded on the cultural context. Saang kultura ka ba nagmula? This context of communication reflects the culture of the people, yung kultura ng mga tao na yon who are creating their self-identity and community. There is this one beautiful phrase given by my former Filipino teacher when I was in high school. Sabi ni ma'am, patay na siya ngayon, sabi niya na ang wika ay ang kaluluwa ng isang bansa. Filipino teacher ko siya. When we translate it in English, it says na language is the very soul of a nation. So, kung ganun, class, yung local communication, yung language na meron tayo and the way how we communicate in our country, sa ating mga kapwa Pilipino, class, yan yung tinatawag nating, parte yan, yung tinatawag nating identity or self-identity as Filipino. That's why language class is a very soul of a nation because it reflects directly to its people. So, yun po. Ngayon, paano naapektuhan yung local communication nung tinatawag naman nating global communication? Kasi class, dalawa yung tinutok natin dito sa lesson na to. It is all about number one, the local communication, and next is the global communication, again, in both settings of multicultural or intercultural communication. So on the other hand, the global communication, sabi dito, has become the modifying factor of local communication. When we say modifying factor class, ano ba ang ibig sabihin nun? Modifying factor daw, yung global communication. So ano ba ang yung kahulugan nito? When we say global communication kasi class, it's the communication across the countries or the countries. My discussion about this is that why global communication is a modifying factor in the local communication. It's because it affects us on the way how we communicate nowadays to the people in our country then. For example, Kung ikukumpara natin ang henerasyon ng mga nanay natin, they might be your nanay are millennials, or yung nanay mo nanggaling sa Generation X, the generation prior to millennials, and us, the Gen Zs. Okay? Tayo ay mga Gen Zs naman. At of course, yung generation na susunod sa atin, yun yung mga generation alpha. Pansinin nyo, yung pagkakaiba-iba natin, bawat henerasyon, kung paano tayo nakikipag-communicate. For example, inagdag ko na yung henerasyon ng mga lolo't lola natin. Sa mga lolo't lola natin, medyo kaya nilang banggitin yung mga tabu na ang ilan sa mga lolo't lola natin, may mga lolo na kayang mabanggit yung mga tabu terminologies. Okay? Medyo technical to, pero sige, bahin ko yung example. It's because hindi ko naman pwedeng sabihin dito yung mga words na yon, di ba? Because I'll be posting this lesson in YouTube. Baka mamaya may ibang makarinig. Alam nyo na, mas malawak yung pwedeng iparaan ng message, and then they might misinterpret me. Sige, isip lang ako na example na pwede ko siyang apply. Okay, so yun. Give me the difference na lang on how the Gen Zs are communicating with each other, and how this generation alphas are communicating with one another. For example, we Gen Zs are typically using slangs, di ba? Mga ris, ganyan, slay, mga ganyan. Alam natin yun, di ba? So, ano ba, millennials, medyo hindi familiar doon. Pero tayo mga Gen Zs, familiar tayo doon. At sa mga Gen Zs, marami pa ang naggumagamit ng po at opo. Pero ang Generation Alpha ngayon, ano ang sabi ng mga estudyante ko rito, marami daw sa mga bata, mga puro na, English na, or hindi marunong mga po, hindi marunong magsalita ng opo. So that's true. It's because they are affected with what we call global communication. Sa paanong paraan? They are exposed, number one, they are exposed in technology. There is a presence of internet. Uh, so yan yung mga factors. Daming, ano pa ba, language adjustments din. Yun, masyado natin ina-embrace yung lingwahe ng ibang bansa. Okay? The presence of internet and then cellphones na napapanood sila agad ng mga foreign shows na hindi naman gumagamit ng po at opo. Therefore, nawawala sa mga dila or sa mother tongues, hindi naman, sa dila ng mga batang to, yung mother tongue language natin na paggalang, nasisignify ng paggalang, which is saying po and opo. So, ay muna, naiintindihan nyo, di ba? So, ganun, naapektuhan tayo. Nag-evolve, therefore, yung language na meron tayo. Ang lolo at lola are telling na iniibig kita, iniirog kita. It's a local term, a very beautiful terminologies that can be only here in the Philippines. But during our mother and father, hindi na medyo nila yun ginagamit. Tayo mga Gen Zs, lalo namang hindi na natin yun ginagamit. Ginagamit lang natin yan when we're writing in creative manner. So yun, iniirog, iniibig, medyo hindi na sinisinta, mga ganun. Ano yung sinasabi ng Gen Zs? Mahal kita, I love you, saranghayo, di ba mga ganyan? We are adapting, we are ever evolving because of the global communication influence to us. Sige, class. I will show you something. I'm just gonna annotate on how it is really affecting us. Sige. As it looks in this manner. For example, we have here, if it's the local communication class, yan yung local communication, ilagay ko na lang LC, LC, at pangalawa naman, yan yung manner on how we are communicating with each other sa loob ng ating bansa. It is under nung tinatawag nating ah, global home, 'di ba? Global communication. It gets affected by that in a manner na outside of our borders, class. Andiyan na yung presence ng technology, okay? Andiyan na yung presence ng technology. Ano pa ba? Meron na din tayong tinatawag na language adjustments. So, yan. Pwede naman yatang text. Sige. The language. Ah, so yan, mga examples kung bakit na tayo ngayon ganito makipag-communicate sa isa't isa. So, these are one of the examples lang, no? Kung paano nakakaapekto yung tinatawag nating global communication. Once again, global communication, mahirap pala gumamit ng ano, no? Ng ah, in this manner. This global communication is a factor that affects on how we communicate with one another. We are now transforming on how we are communicating. So yun po. It's one of the manifestations. So now let's move forward to the next slide, class. Let me just check because I don't want to miss any slide. I mean, okay, so now let's move forward in this. Ang naging end natin dun is the global communication, right? So now what's the purpose of having or understanding what is intercultural communication? Sabi natin that intercultural communication is referring to our ability to understand and value cultural differences. So napakahalaga na meron tayo, nag-i-exist itong tinatawag nating intercultural communications. Simply plus, it's because without this, we cannot we cannot be able to understand how is these differences in our these differences in the world that we have can still somehow be a bridge between us people. So di ba kayo nagtataka na ang dami-daming bansa sa mundo pero right now ang mga tao parang masasabi mo na mas connected sa isa't isa. Masasabi natin isa din to sa mga positive effects ng internet class at ng technological advancements. We are now much more aware interculturally. So yun, mas may ability tayo na makaunawa na yung kulturang meron tayo ay hindi lang ang kulturang nag exist sa mundo. 'Di ba? Minsan class, ito ay nababawasan din yung parang superiority complex ng mga sa ibang bansa na hindi dahil kami mga Western countries, dapat kami ay tinitingala simply because they are not the standards and they should not be the standards, okay? So yun. Next po, we have this what we call language. So when we say language, it's a cultural component that is linked to the intercultural understanding. It's one of the ways kung paano ba tayo, kung bakit nangyayari yung communication. So in using language and its nonverbal clues, it enhances the oral and written communication in intercultural environment that helps to achieve what we call intercultural competence. So we are all carried by this. The language that we are using, class, it is linked now to intercultural understanding. Ang sagot ng mga estudyanteng tinatanong ko dyan, sa palagay niyo sa paanong paraan? Ma'am, it's because we have English language. Pag meron nun ma'am, parang mas nakakaintindi po tayo ng, ah, nakakaintindi po tayo ng ibang salita, ganun po. Or hindi, tawag dito, pagka po marunong tayong mag-English, pwede po tayong magpunta sa ibang bansa, ma'am, at mauunawaan or magkakaunawaan po tayo. So somehow, class ito ay, uh, hindi man somehow, but class, this is real. Although ang English nga, hindi ko naman sasabihin dapat maging standard. But it's an advantage kapag marunong ka niyan. Kasi, yun, nakaka-contribute din siya doon sa tinatawag nating intercultural understanding because verbally, kailangan naman talaga marunong tayong makipag-communicate. But beyond the verbal or the oral and written skills natin, class, ang mas something pa na nakapagpapaganda on how we are communicating sa ibang bangkay sa other class is our gestures. Okay? Ang gestures. Gaano ka ba kagalang, gaano ka ba kapresentable, gaano ka parunong rumispeto sa iyong kausap. So yun po. For example, may mga tao kasi 'di ba, paulit-ulit ko 'to sinasabi sa class natin na matatalino naman talaga, very insightful, pero bakit ayaw nating kausap? It's because they have this parang aura na mayabang, di marunong makinig sa perspective ng ibang tao, sarado mag-isip. So yun, kahit gaano ka pa kagaling na communicator, hindi mo masasabing effective communicator ka if you do not know how to level yourself sa kausap mo or hindi mo alam kung paano sila ma-reach in a manner na sila ay napakikinggan. Again, let us repeat, ano nga yung lesson na or rule na ating pinangahawakan sa purposive communication is the platinum rule, right? Treat others the way how they wish to be treated, not how you wish to be treated. Pag ikaw ay nakikipag-usap, ang kinukonsidera mo ay yung kausap mo, hindi po ang iyong sarili. That's how you become an effective communicator po interculturally. Okay? So next slide. This is what we call uh, the principle of cooperative conversation. Pumunta naman tayo. Ma'am, paano po kami magiging better communicator? Plus, may tinatawag tayong principle of cooperative conversation na ito ay pinropose ng British philosopher na si Paul Grice. So, inote niyo po ito. I'm going to annotate this because it should be I think it should be annotated in this manner, okay? Yun. This principle of cooperative communication is proposed by Paul Grice. Sino ba si Paul Grice? Paul Grice is an American or, sorry, a British. Siya naman yung British. Si, si Hall po yung ating American philosopher. Siya po ay British. A British philosopher known for his fundamental works. Yes, I'm sorry, fundamentals, it's foundational. Foundational works in linguistics, linguistic fields rather, malawak kasi, and proxemics. Okay? So yan, yung sinasabi ko, pragmatics. Pragmatics. So yan po. Siya po yung nag-propose ng principle of cooperative conversation. So tingnan natin. Sinasabi dito class that uh, local and global communication are kept constant in multicultural setting. Sabihin, ito ay ever dynamic class. Walang fixed. Sabi ko nga, wala namang standards talaga. The norm or convention in communicating should be observed by the communicators. Lahat ng mga actions class, dapat ito ay something daw na ating ino-observe in order for us to learn. Okay? So, tingnan natin ngayon yung principle of cooperative conversation na pinropose ni Paul Grice. Okay, so now let's move forward to the next slide naman po. Sabi dyan kasi class, culture is something considerable and context is recognizable. This is very beautiful phrase ha, sentence ha. Culture is considerable and context is recognizable. One of which I want to ask you why culture is considerable and context is said to be recognizable, okay? So this is a discussion that I am asking to my students, that since we are in this setting, tatanungin ko, sasabihin ko na lang, culture is something considerable. It's because it is something na sa pagkakita mo roon sa, I'm sorry, culture is considerable because it is something na hindi pa natin agad nakikita the moment na yung tao ay tumayo sa harap natin at ating tangkang kakausapin. Makukonsider mo pa lang siya kapag yung tao ay nag-umpisa ng magbigay ng salita at yung mga salita na yun ay parang beyond sa yung capacity to understand. Okay? Ang context naman is something recognizable. Sa paanong paraan? Eh kasi class, may awareness ka. Kung saan context na, sa environment ka, ano yung social relationship mo dun sa tao, kausap mo. And therefore, recognizable. Ibig sabihin, aware ka. Okay? Kasi ano yung context, alam mo dapat kung paano ka makikipag-communicate. Yun po. However, communicators should communicate pa rin. Dapat sinusundan pa rin natin kung paano daw tayo mag-communicate doon sa pinaka-post ni Paul Grice na principle of effective communication. Because class, training and recognizing Grice's core maxims in conversation would mean inefficient and ineffective in any local and global communication. Sige, let's move forward. Yes. Okay, I forgot to somehow give you the insights. Ano ba? What is, what is this? Maxims. Okay, when we say maxims class, sige, let's put it in a text. I'll be using the red note for the text. When we say maxims, okay, maxims refers to the unwritten rules, unwritten rules in unwritten rules of effective dialogue. They guide us in a manner na they guides us towards what we call clarity and mutual understanding. Mutual understanding in every exchange. Kung ano man yung exchange na yan. Of course, yung tinatawag nating in exchange is the communication. Yan po yung maxims class, no? Huwag kayong malilito sana. So, yan. Maxims. So, puntahan natin kung ano-ano man yan. Let's move forward to the next slide. So, yan. Meron tayong tinatawag na apat na maxims according to sa four Grice's principle of cooperative conversation. Apat din yung maxim. Unang-una po is the maxim of relation. When we say maxim of relation class, it refers to our ability to be relevant in any conversation na kinabibilangan natin. It's our ability to be relevant. Okay? For example, you are asked by your teachers, okay, Mr. Kalma, bakit ka late ngayong hapon na ito? Eh, sinagot ako ni Kel na, naku po, ma'am, eh, nasarap po ako ng kain eh. Huh? Is his answer relevant? That's what's inside of my mind. Yun yung kanyang sinabi sa akin. Relevant ba? Eh, ang ibig sabihin pala ni Ken, nasarap siyang kumain, ah, na, ta- I'm sorry, yun, dahil masarap yung ulam nila, nasarapan siya kumain. Kaya ngayon, nangyari, kain lang siya ng kain. Kaya ngayon, nalit siya sa klase namin. Okay? So, yun. Okay, wait lang. Medyo ibahin ko yung example ko. Parang nauna yung explanation before example. His answer should be, sabi ko, oh, ba't late ka? Dapat pala ang sagot niya, eh, ma'am, masarap po ulam namin eh. So my question is like, ha? Paano naging related yung masarap na ulam nyo sa pagka-late mo, di ba? Okay, so the explanation pala is nasarapan siya ng kain doon sa ulam, kaya ngayon nakain nun din yung oras niya na dapat gumagaya na siya. Galit siya, therefore. So, yun. So, dapat ang sagot niya, eh ma'am, nasarapan po ako nadami po yung kain ko eh. Tapos yun, nagugol po dun yung oras ko. Kaya po, nalate ako. So, dapat ganun. Binibigyan mo din ng kontekstong maganda yung kausap mo. Dapat relatable doon sa kanyang tanong, yung iyong sagot. Relatable in a manner na hindi siya maliligaw. Okay? That's the first maxim. Maxim of relation. Dalawa, yung tinatawag naman nating maxim of quantity. So, pag sinabi nating maxim of quantity class, so dito, Grice says, sabi niya, Grice underscore, let me annotate once again and use the spotlight to point to you that something that I am teaching. Okay, next po is we have this maxim of quantity. So Grice underscore that every interlocutor, plus when we say interlocutor rather, ito yung mga tao na nagpa-participate sa isang conversation. Interlocutor should observe a fair share talk time. Ibig sabihin po, when you are asked, just say enough. Okay? Just say enough things, not too much. Because dapat yung kausap mo, hinahayaan mo rin siyang mag-talk, di lang puro ikaw. Maximum of quantity. Just say enough. Never be too much. Okay? Bawa, tatanungin ko si Apple, o Miss Apple Tobias, bakit po late ka, I mean, bakit po kaya, anong oras po yung klase natin for this day? Sabi ni Apple, Ma'am, 1 p.m. po. Pero alam niyo po ba, nung mga nakaraang taon, nung nakaraang semester po, naranasan po namin na kahit 1 p.m. to parang 1:30 na po kami nag-uumpisa kasi po, madami po kami ginagawa, ganito, ganyan. Like, ha? Bakit nasa Alma yun? Hindi ko naman tinatanong. Okay, so that's it. The maximum of quantity. It's all about saying just enough. Do not say too much. Okay, so that's the second principle according to four principles of effective conversation according to Paul Grice. Let's move forward to the next slides. We have next slide rather. This is number 3. This is the maximum of quality. So the truth value of the message is held primary in the conversation. The accuracy of the message should be upheld. Ibig sabihin ng maximum of quality class, it's the state of being true. Okay, yun siya sa madaling sabi, the state of being true. Dapat kung ano ang sinasabi mo, lumalabas sa bibig mo ay pawang katotohanan lamang. Hindi po dapat mali o hindi dapat something na nagmi-mislead ng iyong kausap. Bawa, may reporting kayo. Kung hindi mo alam yung topic, huwag kang mag-imbento ng sasabihin. It's because bina-violate mo yung ikatlong principle ng effective conversation according to Paul Grice, which is the maxim of quality. You did not tell the truth. Okay? May hinalo ka na hindi naman totoo. Okay? So yun po. Next, the fourth maxim. This is called as the maxim of manner. Ibig sabihin, class, pag sinabi nating maxim of manner, dito na po papasok yung tinatawag nating state of being clear. Okay? The state of being clear. In the local culture, the manner of saying a word saying a word rather is more regarded than its content. For example, you need to be clear enough sa sinasabi mo. Gaya yung sagot kanina ni Kel, nung tinanong ko siya, o ba't ka late? Masarap daw ulam nila. Hindi na nga relevant sa tanong ko. Kumbaga, hindi na niya na-explain yung relevant, naligoy pa. Yung relevance rather. Medyo maligoy pa. Yun naman pala, totoo naman na ang dahilan masarap yung ulam nila kasi nga nakakain siya ng marami. Ginugol niya yung oras niya doon imbes na siya ay gumagayak na sana. So, you should be concise. Your message or your answer should be clear enough to be understood sa unang dinig pa lang. Okay? Kasi the manner of saying a word class is more regarded as important rather than the content mismo. So yun, lagi nating tatandaan. That's the fourth principle of effective communication according to Paul Grice, and that is called the maxim of manner, the state of being just clear. Malinaw dapat ang sagot mo, dapat ito ay concise. Okay? So yun po. Ngayon, meron din tayong tinatawag na modes of communication. Paano natin na ipadadala ngayon ang mga mensaheng to whenever we are in our local or even in the global setting class. The modes of communication, of course, are the words. Okay? The words and the gestures. This is that are used in the particular region or country to give meaning to certain ideas. Sila yung nagbibigay buhay doon sa mga bagay na nasa isip natin. Our words and our gestures, the way how we project ourselves. Binibigyang idea niya kung ano yung mga bagay na naglalaro sa ating isipan lamang. So words are primary in communication. Sabihin, pangunahin daw na pangangailangan that gestures would make even a meaningful communication. It's a very beautiful phrase, class, and it's one of my favorites in this discussion. Words are primary in communication, but gestures would even make a meaningful communication. May kakayanan ka ngang magsalita. Pero yung manner ng pagsasalita mo sa isang tao is yung gestures mo, okay, yung actions mo, medyo makababastos. Ang pangit, hindi ba? Compared doon sa isang tao na ah, medyo hindi siya ganun galing magsalita, pero magalang naman siya. Sino yung mas gusto mong pakinggan? So, yung tao na nagpapakita ng paggalang. Tama, mali. So, you say, tama. So, yun po. Therefore, the words, greetings, and expression used in what we call intercultural communication or in multicultural setting, should I say, is very different from each country, 'di ba? Because language class is linked to intercultural understanding. It is said here or written here that language is linked to intercultural understanding. For example, dito rin sinagot ko ng mga estudyante ko na ma'am, language is a key to intercultural understanding. It's because when we know, for example po, when we know how to speak in English, pag pupunta tayo sa ibang bansa, parang mas maintindihan po tayo ng mga tao doon if we know how to communicate in somehow po ay nag-i-English tayo. So, tama naman siya, di ba? Because yes, language is linked to intercultural understanding. But beyond that class, yung pag-express natin ng gestures natin, paano kung hindi talaga marunong mag-English? Marunong naman tayong bumasa ng actions, di ba? So, lahat yung class ay under ng intercultural communication and intercultural understanding capacity na meron tayo. Hindi lang sa language nakikita, but also sa gestures, sa capacity mo to understand things that are observable, okay? Hindi kasi lahat ng sagot ay nasasabi. Ang ibang sagot ay na-observe lamang natin. Di ba? So, yun po. So ngayon, these are the examples on how we are saying or the differences in language. For example, paano ba natin sinasabi yung salitang take care daw in different language that we have in the Philippines. So we have the Filipino, Kapampangan, Cebuano, and Ilocos. The Filipino translation of take care is ingat ka. In Kapampangan, it's mimingat. I, I confirmed this and one of my students from Bisag, na Kapampangan, tama daw, mimingat daw. But in Cebuano, may estudyante akong nagsabi na dapat daw ang translation ng ingat ay amping. Okay, so medyo tama naman, amping. So sa Iloco, ito. Okay, so yun po. That's in the Philippines language. Okay, so masyado ay nasanay na ito ay tinatawag itong mga to na dialekto. Pero sila po ay parte ng lengguaheng Pilipino. 'Di ba? Bago pa dumating ang mga Spanish, the Tagalog terms na meron tayo minsan na-adapt natin sa mga Spanish, itong mga languages na to, Kapampangan, Cebuano, Ilocano, Iloco, or anything, um, lahat ng yan class ay meron na sa Pilipinas, language na natin, bago pa po dumating ang mga dayuhan. Okay, that is why they are called language. Next po, may tinatawag din tayo. Sorry, this is an example also on how we are saying take care in different language naman in global setting. For example, there is an Indonesian translation of this, Malayan translation, and of course, Mandarin. Hmm? Okay. So next, the common words, greetings, and expressions used in four languages. What are those languages? We have the French, Spanish, Korean, Mandarin, and Chinese. So how we say hello in French, it's bonjour. In Spanish, it's hola. Annyeong. And in Mandarin, it's ni hao. Okay? As well as, and same applies to goodbye, thank you, and I love you in different languages. Sa apat po na ito. Okay? So these examples class are for you to reflect. That's how the differences in culture and language are affecting us somehow, di ba? Meron akong reflective question for my students regarding this lesson eh. How do you think it's possible that despite of having a lot of languages, the differences in languages in our world, somehow tayong mga tao ay marunong pa rin magkaunawaan. So it's a reflective question for you. I will not give an answer. That is for you to reflect. So yun po ang katapusan ng ating lesson. Lahat po ng susunod pang lesson natin will be discussed on our next meeting. But tomorrow, prepare because you will be having your activity in my class. Understood? Okay, class. So I hope that you learned something and I hope whatever you learn will last. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great day.